So we're out here right now, we're out in here in the wild. I'm sitting here reviewing this research study, a double-blind, placebo-controlled research study on the effectiveness of passion flower for the treatment of especially both mental and physical symptoms of opioid withdrawal. So opioid addiction or dependent withdrawal symptoms. So these can be quite horrific, be very painful, uncomfortable, life-devastating type of symptoms for some people, driving them back into using and reusing opioids to control those symptoms. But there is a research study that's been published, and I'm looking at it, and it just like hit me. I'm like, we're in the depths of the worst drug crisis in American history right now. The worst ever. Tens of thousands, well over 30,000 people. You know, I guarantee there's more people dying because of these drugs, because of opioids. But opioids are killing, registered numbers, admitted numbers, well over 30,000. And that's more than any, more people have died from this FDA-approved drug class than any illegal drug out there. So the reality is the FDA has approved the deadliest drug in American history. Quite ironic, isn't it? But I'm looking at this study. It's been done since 2001. 2001, a small study on 65 individuals who are addicted to opioids. 65, they went through a short-term study. It was only 14 days, but they've done this type of study for the use of other prescription medications. And again, another ironic thought in my brain is the fact that government funding has funded research behind using pharmaceutical drugs. So the government, the US government, has given money for drug companies, the pharmaceutical industry, to do research to try and develop another drug to treat opioid dependence. So that's quite ironic in my opinion, considering the fact that we're asking the pharmaceutical industry that caused this epidemic through lies. Yes, folks, if you don't know that, realize that Purdue Pharma, one of the makers of OxyContin, one of the most widely prescribed opioid drugs out there, lied about the addictive properties of that drug during its FDA approval process, and then lied again about the safety of its slow-release opioid drugs. So it's just insane to me that we're literally looking to the same businesses, the same companies, the same industry, the pharmaceutical industry, we're asking them and we're giving them money to try and find an answer for the epidemic and the devastation they caused. Insane to me. The other thing is saying we're sitting on a study of a safe, effective alternative for treating the things like anxiety, insomnia, muscle spasms, muscle pain, aches, all these things. You know, we've got a safe alternative in passion flower that right now in the United States, it grows wild throughout the northeastern, southeastern part of the United States, from southern parts of Ohio and Illinois all the way down to Florida. You know, some in Texas, all the way to the East Coast. So we've got this passion flower. We've got clinical studies that if it was a drug and the farmers had enough money, or the, you know, wild herbalist collecting these plants had enough money to pay the FDA for approval, it probably would get approval. And yet we haven't funded and we haven't gone forward with additional larger scale studies on this plant, on this herbal medicine, to help people get through the devastating effects when they desire to get rid of or get off of those darn drugs. So all right, that's just me ranting about a little bit of frustration with the entire medical system right now when we have safe, effective alternatives, but just because it seems they're plant-based medicines that literally grow in the wild and could be harvested by the individuals who need them for free, all except for their time, if your time is never free. But the reality is understanding how to process them, how to make your own medicine, how to identify the plant, you know, that's all it would take. And that's knowledge that I wish to give to other people. So that little segment I just did here, this video is me just ranting about my frustration with the system, with where the money's going, with the epidemic, and the need for teaching people how to heal themselves or get well without a dependency on pharmaceuticals, whether it be a dependency on opioids or it be a dependency on the other drugs that the drug companies come up with to treat these conditions. So let's go into talking about how to identify, how to find passion flower, you know, and how to use it for the treatment of opioid withdrawal symptoms.